Well, hello everybody and welcome to my tiny kitchen. My name is Kat. Today's recipe, we're going to make something that my mom made for us when we were kids. It is called chicken parm. I call it poor man's chicken parm, but right now with the price of chicken and poultry and eggs, it's not a poor man's meal anymore. My mom used to make it with frozen chicken patties, but I couldn't find any in the grocery store. And I had some leftover chicken in my freezer from when our freezer died, and I had to cook 20 pounds of chicken. So I'm going to use that today in the recipe and make my own chicken patties for the recipe. So with that being said, let's cover the ingredients and let's get cooking. So the first thing we have today is our dry ingredients. I have a half teaspoon of salt, half teaspoon of paprika, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of onion powder, an eighth of a teaspoon of dry mustard, and an eighth of a teaspoon of black ground pepper. So that's our first stuff. Next in line we have a half of a cup or quarter of a cup of breadcrumbs. We've got a teaspoon of Worcestershire. We have one lightly beaten egg. About a pound of cooked shredded chicken. And for the second part of the recipe, I have a cup of breadcrumbs. I have a half a cup of milk. And I have a cup of macaroni noodles. And then we have 2 cups of marinara sauce that's store-bought, and you can get any, I think it's 24-ounce can. Should do this recipe good. And now with that being said, let's get started on the process for the chicken patties and get this recipe going. So I've got my ingredients here for the first part of my recipe that I'm going to get started in the food processor. That would be my chicken, all of my dried herbs and spices, half a cup of breadcrumbs, my teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, and my egg. And I want to beat this to a consistency that will be able to make the patties out of. So now all the ingredients are in. Put my lid on and start pulsing first. And then I'm going to turn it on. This will take a minute or 2 to grind, so let's see what happens here. And that looks pretty good. Yep, that's pretty good. It's sticking together. So what I'm going to do is put this in a bowl, cover it, leave it in the refrigerator for a while so that it can chill, and then we'll get the patties going. We're on the second part of this recipe, and I've got my breadcrumbs already in the bowl, and my half a cup of milk. And now what I need to do is form my patties. And then dip them in the milk and the breadcrumbs, and I'm only going to try one of them in the milk because I don't know how this is going to work out. So I get me a good amount of my chicken mixture. It'll make me a patty. And I'm going to dip it in my milk. And then dip it in the breadcrumb. I'm going to coat this pretty good. Then we'll put it on my sheet. Make sure I get enough coating on there. Now, the recipe that I got says to fry them, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to throw them in my freezer. And when I get ready to do the rest of the recipe, then I will pull them out of the freezer and put them on top of the dish, which you will see. So, milk, breadcrumbs, cookie sheet. Looks like I'm going to get quite a few. Well, 4 of them. I want 4. These last 2 are going to be bigger. Press this all together. Make my patty. And one more here. Sure I get all that goodiness. These worked out really good. I was afraid they were going to be too loose. And the milk again. And my breadcrumbs. And like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw these in the freezer and let them firm up in the freezer as if I were going to use a already frozen patty. And then once they're ready to go, we can get the rest of our recipe going. And I will see you in a few minutes when I have all of that ready to go. I went ahead and pre-cooked my pasta. I didn't cook it all the way because it's going to finish off in the oven, but my patties are good and frozen enough that I can put them on. So we're going to go ahead and start putting this dish together for the oven. And I've already greased my pan or casserole that I'm going to use for this recipe. So I'm going to add my noodles, my pasta. Still a little steamy. And I'm going to then add about half of the marinara to the pasta noodles. A little bit more. I'm going to mix this in right here in the casserole. I don't want to dirty another bowl, so just get this good and mixed in. We got that mixed in. So now I'm going to add my chicken patties that I made earlier to the top. And I may have to stagger these a little bit. No, here we go. Get them in here. Yep. Just fit. Now I'm going to pour the rest of the pasta sauce over the top of these. And then I'm going to spread it out. This is marinara actually. So I'm going to spread it out over the top. This will also run down into the pasta underneath it. And what I'm going to do is put this in the oven and bake it for about 30 to 40 minutes. On my hand. And then my final ingredient, which I didn't cover with you earlier, is mozzarella cheese, shredded mozzarella cheese. What I will do with that after about 30 minutes is pull the dish out, add the cheese, and then it'll be ready to show you a finished product. We can take a picture after plating and call it a day. I thank you all for joining me today. It's been fun. I enjoy cooking and I enjoy having you come along. So with that being said, I wish you the very best and have a blessed day.